Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look at something pretty fascinating. It connects two seemingly different worlds.
Yeah.
Practical, everyday power moves, but derived from spiritual principles.
That's right. We're digging into excerpts from a source called Everyday Spiritual Power Moves.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission here really is to unpack these principles. We want to see what the source actually says they are.
Yeah, what's the essence?
Exactly. And explore the real-life analogies it gives. See how they might offer some maybe surprising benefits.
Right, in areas we all deal with, like health, relationships.
Career, finances, all that everyday stuff.
Exactly. The promise, reading this source, seems to be about discovering simple but really powerful shifts, things that could genuinely elevate your daily life.
Finding spiritual insights that actually translate into, well, tangible results you can see and feel.
Okay, so let's jump in. The first power move the source presents is keep the best company.
Right. And this isn't just, hang out with nice folks.
No, it goes deeper. The source talks about the spiritual essence. It mentions sitting with truth, the capital T. It suggests that by aligning yourself with this ultimate truth, you kind of lift yourself from ordinary to something more elevated.
And the real-life analogy they give is really interesting here. It connects that big spiritual idea directly to our choices. Who we spend time with, definitely, but also, and this is key, what content we consume.
Ah, okay. Like the media we take in.
Precisely. It's like consciously choosing friends, mentors, even the books or podcasts.
Yeah.
Stuff that uplifts you, things that encourage positive growth, kindness, maybe fitness, thinking ahead.
Instead of things that drain you.
Exactly. Actively choosing company that builds you up and steering clear of influences that might pull you down or just sap your energy.
So why does the source argue this works? On a practical level, I mean.
Well, it says the people and the information you engage with, they fundamentally shape your mood, your mindset, your whole perspective, really.
So curating that circle people or media, it's an active thing.
Yeah, it's not passive at all. The source claims it actively boosts trust and harmony in relationships at work. It helps create a more positive environment overall.
It's like your environment shapes your inner state.
Yeah.
Which then shapes your outcomes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It does. If you're swimming in cynicism all day, it's pretty hard to feel optimistic, right?
True. And if you engage with inspiring ideas, they kind of seep in.
Yeah, they start influencing your own thoughts.
Okay. Now, the second power move from the source.
Yeah.
This one's really interesting. Baba makes you master of both worlds.
Right. And in the context of this source, Baba typically refers to God or the supreme being, seen as the ultimate spiritual teacher.
Okay.
And being made a master. It's not about worldly control. It's more about achieving mastery over two things, your inner spiritual state and your outer practical skills.
So becoming skilled inwardly and outwardly, both.
Exactly. And the analogy they use is pretty compelling, especially for, say, career development. Imagine a really great mentor, someone who doesn't just teach you the technical stuff like coding or managing a budget.
The hard skills.
Right. But they also help you master things like handling stress, leading a team with empathy, staying focused under pressure, the soft skills.
Okay, the whole package.
Yeah. This balanced training, mastering both sides, empowers you so much. The source suggests you could potentially grow beyond your current role, maybe even, outgrow the mentor's job title eventually.
So what does this balanced mastery unlock day to day, according to the source?
Well, it states this dual focus leads to both tangible career advancement promotions, better opportunities, and a deeper sense of personal fulfillment, real satisfaction.
It sounds like the antidote to burnout, chasing only one kind of success.
That's exactly the idea. It prevents that burnout that often comes from just focusing on the external while ignoring your inner well-being.
It really reframes success, doesn't it? It suggests it needs proficiency on multiple levels.
Definitely. Which leads us nicely into the third power move. Faith switches on happiness.
Okay. The core idea here seems to be that belief itself, just having faith or conviction in something positive, is inherently energizing. It can directly spark good feelings.
And the analogy for this one is very vivid, relatable, especially if you think about health goals. The source suggests committing to a new routine, like a workout plan, say.
Okay.
And truly having faith in its potential. That belief itself can trigger the release of feel-good chemicals, endorphins, for instance.
Before you even see results.
Yeah. That's the key point. It can happen before the physical results show up. Sometimes even before you finish the first session, it's the conviction, the belief in the plan that gives you that initial burst of energy and positivity.
Wow. So how does the Source explain why this faith switch works? What's the mechanism?
It says that this kind of confidence, this belief in a positive routine health or anything else, it actually triggers those natural feel-good chemicals internally.
This is a real physiological thing.
Seems so. And it's not just a fleeting feeling. The Source claims it can actually support your physical and mental well-being, maybe even help immunity, sharpen focus.
It really highlights how your internal state isn't separate from your physical reality at all.
Not at all. They're deeply connected.
Okay, power move number 4. This is about understanding your internal landscape. Know the real driver, soul, a supreme soul.
Right. This principle from the Source is about telling the difference between various internal forces driving you. It explains that your immediate impulses, those transient desires, what the Source might call the actions of the individual soul, influenced by habits or external stuff. Those are different from higher guidance or your true long-term purpose, which is often linked to connecting with the Supreme Soul, the ultimate source of truth.
So the real driver is knowing which one's actually steering the ship.
Exactly. Knowing which force is guiding your actions at any given moment.
The real-life analogy they give focuses on finances. That seems like a good fit for this idea.
It really does. It's about learning to separate the impulsive spender inside you. You know, that voice screaming, buy it now.
I know that voice.
From the long-term advisor. The part of you that understands your financial goals, your values.
And the power comes from just recognizing they're different.
Yeah, recognizing their distinct influences. So you don't just automatically follow every urge like it's gospel or a wise decision.
And the practical benefit of doing that.
The Source is pretty clear. Distinguishing impulse from purpose helps you curb unnecessary debt, for one.
That's big.
Yeah. And maybe more importantly, it helps you consciously direct your resources, money, time, energy, towards things that truly matter in the long run. Assets, experiences, goals, instead of being swept away by fleeting wants.
It's really about being intentional with your resources, isn't it?
Absolutely. Intentionality is key.
Okay, power move number 5. This one is framed as Raja Yoga Study Upgrade Curriculum.
Right. So Raja Yoga Study in this context refers to a specific path of spiritual learning and self-transformation. The principle is that this ongoing inner learning, it's like constantly upgrading your fundamental operating system, your core skills for life.
The career analogy seems particularly relevant today.
Totally spot on for our fast-changing world, right? Think about someone whose main skill was maybe based on an old programming language.
Yeah, a legacy skill.
Exactly. If they engage in continuous learning, maybe upskill to become a full-stack developer, proficient in modern tech, they haven't just added one new skill. They've fundamentally changed their market value, their capabilities. They've upgraded their whole curriculum.
Just like dedicated spiritual study is meant to upgrade your inner capabilities.
That's the parallel the Source draws.
So why is this principle considered so effective in daily life?
The Source argues that this commitment to continuous learning, whatever form it takes, inner or outer, it future-proofs you.
Keeps you relevant.
Yeah, adaptable, engaged, valuable, which is crucial when markets shift, industries change, or even just your own life path takes a turn.
It's about being proactive in a dynamic world. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, number 6. Burn sins through focused remembrance. Now, this might sound a bit heavy.
It can sound that way, yeah. But the essence, according to the Source, is more about actively clearing out mental clutter, or maybe past negativity's burdens, through a focused practice.
So sins here isn't quite the traditional meaning, more like error logs.
That's a great way to put it. Accumulated negative influences, bad habits, mental baggage, like error logs in a system, and focused remembrance is the practice that helps clear them.
Okay. And the analogy.
The Source links it to health and stress management. It describes it as being like a daily digital detox, but for your mind. Or maybe a practice like, say, 20 minutes of deep breathing or meditation.
Right.
These actions, the Source suggests, can actually help melt cortisol, which is like clearing out yesterday's accumulated error logs, that mental residue.
And what are the practical benefits the Source claims come from this regular clearing?
It states that this practice, this focused mental clearing, can lower blood pressure. It can sharpen decision-making because you're removing the mental clutter. Oh, interesting.
And it might even cool tempers, reduce friction in relationships at home. So direct benefits to your physical, mental, and emotional state.
It sounds like a disciplined approach to managing that internal stress buildup we all get.
Exactly, a proactive mental hygiene.
All right, power move number 7 relates to the stage of retirement, time to prioritize what really counts.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily about your actual age or stopping work. It's about cultivating a kind of mental stage of retirement.
A mindset.
A mindset, exactly, where you consciously shift your focus to what truly matters. And this is applicable at any point in life, not just later years. Identifying and prioritizing your core values and goals.
And the analogy for this one?
It's drawn from financial planning, like taking time each year to really review your investment portfolio.
Okay.
You look at what's working, what's maybe underperforming, perhaps trimming funds that aren't quite aligned with your long-term vision.
And boosting others. Right. Boosting investments in your core long-term assets, like maybe index funds. It's a deliberate act of reallocating your resources, time, energy, money, based on what genuinely counts for your future well-being.
And why is this a power move? According to the source, what's the benefit of doing this now?
Well, the emphasis is that making these conscious reallocations now, regularly reviewing and adjusting priorities, it prevents you from being forced into panic decisions later on.
Avoids reactive choices.
Yeah. Whether it's finances, relationships, personal projects, this proactive prioritizing helps secure a more stable, less stressful future. Helps you enjoy that sunset phase whenever and however it shows up for you.
It's about actively designing your life rather than just letting it happen to you.
Well put. It's about conscious design.
Okay, finally, the 8th power move. Purity breeds natural charisma, spiritual royalty.
So purity, in the source's terms, it seems to go beyond just, physical cleanliness.
Right. Talks about integrity.
Yeah, integrity, honesty, a kind of cleanliness of thought and intention. And spiritual royalty isn't about worldly status, obviously. It's more like a natural magnetic influence that comes from this inner state.
So the essence is integrity and inner clarity lead to natural influence and trust from others.
Exactly. And the real-life analogy is actually quite simple but profound, especially in relationships or leadership roles. Think about the people you instinctively trust the most.
Okay.
Chances are they keep their promises. They show restraint in their words and actions, maybe. They respect boundaries.
Yeah, consistency and respect.
Right. The source says this kind of purity in how you interact makes people magnetically trust and respect you. It grants a natural charisma that isn't forced or faked.
And the practical payoff. What's the benefit of this, according to the source?
It says this kind of integrity dramatically reduces drama and conflict in your life because your actions are clear, consistent, trustworthy.
Makes sense. Less misunderstanding, less mess.
Exactly. By avoiding the complexity and the emotional drain that comes from, well, a lack of integrity, you actually save significant emotional energy. Mental bandwidth.
And that saved energy
Can then be consciously directed towards your creative goals, quality time with family, whatever truly matters to you, instead of being wasted putting out fires.
So it's about conserving your most valuable resource, that inner peace and energy, just by living with integrity.
That's a great summary of it, yes.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into everyday spiritual power moves, the core idea seems to be how consciously applying these principles, staying aligned with what the source calls the supreme current, that ultimate source of spiritual energy and truth. How that can lead to, well, it uses the phrase waterfall of steady happiness and power, effectiveness across different parts of your life.
Yeah, we've seen how these ideas from the source could potentially impact so many areas.
Your health, right?
Through things like faith and clearing stress.
Your relationships, through choosing your company and that idea of purity.
Your career, through balanced mastery and continuous learning.
And even your finances, by understanding that inner driver and making conscious choices.
It touches on a lot.
It really does. Now, for some quick motivation boosts, things derived directly from the source material. Ideas you could potentially try out, maybe even this week.
Okay, let's hear them.
All right. First one, take inventory. Look at your 5 closest influences. That means people you spend most time with and the content you consume most. Then, plan to upgrade or shift at least one of those this week.
Interesting challenge. Okay, second.
Second, pick one mastery gap you recognize in yourself. Could be public speaking, could be finally figuring out that budgeting app.
Or a specific work skill.
Right. And actually schedule a block of time, even a small one, like a micro course or just focused practice, to work on it this week. Make it concrete.
Got it. Number 3.
Third, Set a 15-minute daily reset. Could be breath work, prayer, a quick walk outside, whatever helps you clear your head.
And the key?
The key is treat it like brushing your teeth. Non-negotiable. Daily mental hygiene.
I like that. Okay, fourth?
Fourth, do a mini retirement drill this week. Just imagine you suddenly had 5 fewer working hours. How would you use that time meaningfully based on your deeper priorities?
Okay.
And then, the important part, start integrating one of those meaningful activities into your schedule now, even in a small way. Don't wait for the someday.
Proactive. Nice. And the last one?
Fifth boost. Try practicing purity in speech for just 24 hours. Consciously avoid gossip, avoid self-bashing talk, unnecessary negativity, just for a day.
And notice what happens.
Yeah, just notice if you feel an instant lightness or maybe more clarity. See what shifts.
Interesting experiment.
So, based on all the stuff we discussed today,
Yeah.
here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. Which single area of your life feels most ready for one of these power moves right now? Health, career, relationships, finances, interstate?
Just pick one area.
Yeah. And what might even a simple shift, applying one of these ideas in that specific area, what might that unlock for you, maybe in the coming days or weeks?
Something to definitely reflect on and maybe act upon.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this deep dive.
Shanti, keep the drive, live the peace.